Hi there, Rebecca from Laugh So Create. Welcome. Today I thought I'd do something a little different, and it's a little outside my comfort zone, and that is to do a Q&A about me. Now, I feel very uncomfortable doing it because the whole purpose of my channel is to provide you with help, tutorials for sewing, learning more about being creative, and exploring what you enjoy doing. And I just want to be that friend at the table, helping you explore and learn more about sewing. Because I do remember when I was starting on my sewing journey, or coming back to my sewing journey, and I kind of had wished for having a friend that was there with me to guide me along the way. So the format on this video is completely different from what I normally do, and I enlisted a little friend to help me along. Well, several friends. One, you may hear animals in the background. They're my puppies, my dogs, and a bird squawk from my daughter's birds. But yeah, so format-wise, I enlisted the help of ChatGPT, and I asked it specifically to come up with a list of questions as a get-to-know-me, questions for YouTube, for tailored towards the sewing channel. So I have not looked at these questions, so I thought it would be funner to just off the cuff it. So let's start. All right, so breathing down, slow it down. Okay, question number one, how did you get started with sewing? Well, like many little girls or little boys, my grandmother was a big influence in learning how to hand stitch. So she taught me the very basic skills of learning how to do the hand stitching, and that's kind of where the seed was planted. But it came back when I was in college. My third year of college, I actually took a sewing class. I enjoyed it. I learned a more structured way of sewing. I learned how to sew on a sewing machine. And funny part was that as my final project, I had to make a shirt. And so I made one for my now husband as my final project. And yeah, that was kind of a low. I learned a lot of things, but it turned out I'd done most everything okay. But then I attached the cuff, so it was actually, instead of facing in where it's supposed to be buttoned, the cuff I put on, and it was, let's say, appropriate for somebody that's not human. It was facing outside. So that was a good learning project. But then towards the end of my third year in college, I actually got married. So I made my going away dress. And if I could even find a picture of it, I don't think I have a picture of it that was taken back then, but I might be able to dig up the dress and insert a picture. But I was so super proud of that. And even today, if I went back and tried to make it, I think it was extremely challenging. Okay, so I kept on rambling. I didn't think I'd be able to talk that much. Okay, where am I from? I was actually born in England and grew up in Italy. My dad was Italian, my mom was British. Then I came over here by too much information for you guys. But after college, I actually became a U.S. citizen and joined the Army. So I was a dietitian in the Army, and I did my whole internship that way, and I'm still a practicing dietitian by day job. This is just a hobby on the side. Yes, I do speak Italian. Okay, question number, well, we're not going to number them, but the question is, what is your favorite type of fabric to work with? So I like working with cotton, and just because I feel like it's such a versatile product. One, it comes in so many designs. 2, it's a woven fabric, so it doesn't stretch a lot, so it's easier for beginners to use. 3, I just feel like you can integrate it into so many projects, whether it's from household goods to clothing to making purses and pouches, which I love to do if you've seen some of the videos on my channel. I would say that would be Samson, my German Shepherd. It can be interfaced with so many different things, from a foam to SF101. So you really can get it to behave how you want it to. Do you have a favorite sewing project that you've worked on? I would say my venture into making purses and pouches. What am I working on right now? I'm actually designing a bag. Hopefully it'll come to fruition, but my goal was to make it into a backpack slash crossbody. So to have a strap that would be like a backpack with straps that could be converted into a regular handbag worn on the hip. Just for convenience size, I wanted something that is bigger than the current bag that I wear to work. So that's this one. Hopefully it'll work out, and then I'll be sharing it with you. Okay, so the next question is, can you share sewing tips or tricks that have been a game changer to you? Okay, so yes, I enlisted a friend. Yes, now's not the time to play. Not to pull on my sweater either. So this is Chelsea. So sewing tips or tricks, game changer. I think learning the terminology and what things meant in sewing was a huge game changer, because up until that point, things just sounded foreign to me. For example, linings, interfacings, what the warp and weft of a fabric were. The selvage was a big one, a big thing that just for some reason, just the terms intimidated me. And having served in the military, I think something that I could compare it to is, in the military, you have a lot of abbreviations, and you just have to learn those abbreviations as part of your training and communication. And I think that is similar in probably any kind of field that you go into. I would imagine is that it has its special terminology. And so learning that was a big game changer. So not necessarily a tip or trick, but maybe just advice that helped me and may help you if you are planning on learning to sew. Okay, so what inspired you to start a sewing YouTube channel? Whoa, okay, so this would go back to around 2020, 2021. I think Melanie Ham is a YouTuber that some of you might be familiar with. She was an amazing crafter and a great gift for teaching. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us. She had a battle with cancer, and it's very public. It's still up on her channel. But she was a huge inspiration because it made me think of lasting legacy and what impact I may want to share with the world before my time is up. I know, kind of macabre, but at the same time, or in the same time period, I also lost my brother suddenly. And so, like most of you, if you've been through some sort of traumatic experience or event in life, something that is very life-changing, you suddenly may want to change some of the things you are doing. So I actually quit my job of working in a skilled nursing facility nursing home where I'd been there for 10 years and went for something completely different, found a different job. And at the same time, I really pondered about what I wanted a legacy to be for my girls. And I thought, what better way than to start a YouTube channel, which is completely not me. I don't like my least favorite part is being in front of a camera. My favorite part is to get to create the patterns and designs and be able to bring them to you, and just to have the ability to hopefully explain things to you in a way that hopefully you'll understand. Everybody has a different style as well. So not only is it a creative outlet for me, I love the aspect of videotaping, as well as videotaping. Like, if you've seen some of my videos, you've probably seen the location around my house. I live up in the Rocky Mountains, and so I've integrated some of that footage into the videos. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. But I love the process of editing the videos. That's something that was unexpected. I never thought that I would enjoy it. If some of you are thinking that you might want to do it, you might enjoy it. Some people absolutely don't like it. My daughter, when I was telling her about it, she tinkered with the editing part and absolutely did not like it. But I just love the creative aspect of it. It's very focused, and just the ability to learn new things and bring in different aspects of creation and music and so on and so forth. Okay. Are there any sewing challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them? Oh, all the time. I guess my brain doesn't work like an engineer's, and so I think when you're designing things, sometimes what I think it's supposed to go a certain way isn't the way it's going to work out, or it's not going to work out, or I have to really think really hard through the process. So I don't know what you'd call that, but I know that that is a challenge sometimes, is because you're talking about a three-dimensional process when you're designing bags and pouches and adding different features, that sometimes it requires spatial thinking. Like, for instance, like in this backpack, this part took me I had to just stop and think about it really hard yesterday, because I wanted it to, I've got fur everywhere. I wanted it to have the D-ring where you could attach the straps to make it into a backpack, but I wanted it to be comfortable when it's on your back, so to provide some sort of padding, and also the hook where you can hang it up and when you get to work and hang it up. So just the whole concept of how I was going to do it just took me a minute. So I may actually start doing, and that takes me forever. The whole design process takes me forever. It's not my main job. Like I said, I have a day job, but it takes me a long time to come up with the designs. So I may start featuring hopefully some patterns that are made by other designers that I can just pick up and videotape and kind of walk through the experience and the pitfalls that I find, or the things that I find challenging, that I think would be challenging for a beginner, or just the learning process, and hopefully be of assistance that way. What's your advice for someone just starting with sewing? Oh, okay, and maybe this is a great video topic, and that is to setting up your sewing space. It doesn't have to be a room. That could be one sewing topic in itself. Just having somebody walk beside you that has done it before, and maybe even getting the community involved with their experience, sharing with the newer people that are learning how to sew what are the integral parts of sewing up a sewing space. And I would say just basics like keeping your work pressed as you go, super important. You don't think that it's important when you first start. Trimming your threads as you're working, keeping your work tidy. That's just something that you may not know naturally, or you just think, oh, I can get away with it. Or even not knowing the fabrics, how to prepare them for sewing, or which fabrics would be the most appropriate for that project. I would say that I think that those are the things that I would have wanted help with. Or even back then, I didn't even realize that those are some things that you really need to learn prior to starting a project, is knowing what type of fabric that project's appropriate for. Learning how to prepare that project before you even start the project. There's just so much to learn, and it's just exciting. Learning about interfacings, learning about the hardware that goes into bags, or if you're more of a garment sewer, just learning all that there's to know about reading patterns, the terminology. What is your favorite part of the sewing process? Designing, cutting, or stitching? I would say getting on the sewing machine and just really that therapeutic, focused, repetitive motion and sound of the sewing machine is just, that's it. It's meditative. And I think a lot of people find it, which is funny because when I was starting out early on, when I was younger, I was more impatient. I think it was something that I had to learn, was to be okay with the whole be patient. And it's a process that everybody has to learn, and just to pause and not get frustrated, because it's easy to get frustrated in the beginning, especially if you don't have a sewing machine that is good, or if you're just inherited a sewing machine. So that's kind of where I started, was with machines that I, purchased, and just things kept getting tangled, and the bobbin wouldn't work right, or just different things, and not understanding what I was doing wrong or how to fix it. And looking back, I wish that I would have had some help with that. But getting a good, solid machine, one that you feel comfortable with, is a game changer. How do you balance your passion for sewing with other aspects of your life? Well, it's a challenging one, but when you find something that you're passionate about and enjoy, you figure out how to build it into your life. And it may not be something that I can do every day, but it's something that you can integrate to make your life so much richer. And that is, in this world, we need things that are therapeutic, that bond us to other people. It's a great bridge to start a conversation with other people. What roles does sustainability play in your sewing practice? Well, if you've seen a lot of my videos that I've posted, they're upcycled projects, things that I've made from drop cloths, or things that I've found at the thrift store, secondhand shop, or even we have a thrift store that is for Animal Protective League. I'm just finding things there that sparks a little, I think I like that pattern, or I think I like the texture of that. Let me pick it up. And then it's a whole process of mulling over what would look good with that pattern or that texture, and what do you think you can make from it. And that's fun, because it may inspire you to be out of your comfort zone. It may inspire you to do a project that maybe you weren't thinking about making. So yeah, I would encourage you to do something that is sustainable or green, because it's good. It's saved you money. 2, it's taking it out of the landfill. 3, you may be donating or picking something up and contributing to a good cause, like the Animal Protective League. Samson got some of my yarn. Oh, that might be another good question, is what sort of crafts do I enjoy doing? I love crocheting, but recently I've gotten into amigurumi, and I I love that. It's just so satisfying. I'll insert some pictures of some of the things that I've been making for people around me. Learning to knit has been another one. I have done some knitting, but not a lot. More crocheting. And yeah, so always expanding the creative side and the crafting side. So much fun. And so I hope that this sparks your motivation to do something, especially if you're going through a very difficult time. Look at it as maybe you need to put something in your life that brings you joy. If you're going through a struggle or a dark time, you may be surprised at how passionate you become about that, whatever it might be. Well, I hope that this was some value to you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And yeah, so bye for now. You're so good, Chelsea. So good. Such a good girl.